Berserk chapter 271 is out, and as I stated in my previous video, a new arc commences. We got this beautiful colored page of the most pivotal moment that has transpired ever since Kentaro Miura's passing and Studio Gaga took over. Griffith taking Casca away from Guts' life once again, just when things started to go well, where even the tone of the story was arguably happy and Casca's mental state was improving, with the possibility of her and Guts' relationship to gradually get to how it was. It all went away once Griffith arrived to Elfhelm. But putting aside the sadness of Berserk, this chapter, art-wise, is the closest to Miura's style. Previously there have been some amazing panels, but the ones that were not heavily important at times did not quite have that Miura style. Yet chapter 371 actually had the best overall art, resembling that iconic Berserk feeling that everyone loves, and you will see that as we go through the analysis. The chapter starts with Roderick and the crew members shouting at Guts to open up the door. Shirka decides to have a look with her astral body and sees what we as readers saw in the previous chapter. Guts is in the ground with the Dragon Slayer in front of him. And it's difficult to recall the last time Guts has cried. It seems to be so long ago. Guts has undergone so many messed up situations that even when horrible events happen, it is not enough for him to cry. It takes so much to make someone like Guts cry, and we definitely did not expect it to happen during this arc. Aside from the actual crying panels from the end of the Black Swordsman arc and the Golden Age during and after the eclipse, Guts has not had this reaction. The last time Guts portrayed this level of sadness was in chapter 359, right after Casca got cured by Shirka and Farnese. Casca happily approached Guts, only to be reminded of her past trauma once they exchanged stares. At this point, Guts was devastated, and this is personally one of my favorite scenes that often goes unnoticed. This page shows everything in just Guts' face. It portrays so much emotion and meaning, and this is why Kentaro Miura is the legend he is. At that moment, Guts got back to his normal state. My guess is that seeing the old Casca back and her mental state showing improvements gave some sort of hope to Guts. In the worst case scenario, although they wouldn't be able to be together, Casca could live a normal life again. And in the best case scenario, they would be back to how it was. Only time would tell, but there was hope. Now Guts feels hopeless, and rightfully so. The God Hand, life, causality, fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, took Guts' most precious thing in an instant. After all the hardships, endurance, and struggle, he still can't protect the ones he loves. He still can't change his fate. He can't be happy. Guts is in such an emotional state that they had to add a notice or warning for the viewers, saying, "This is a work of fiction and has no correlation with any existing figures, groups, or incidents." Guts has been a symbol of hope, perseverance, power, you name it, and seeing him in this state, even for me that understands this is a fictional character and story, feels bad. Only good stories can accomplish this, and Berserk with its art and storytelling can accomplish it. We get a glimpse of Guts' mental state when he's having a breakdown, remembering all the times he has fought and moved on in life. Or at least that is what it was meant to be, because I don't know who in the studio decided to add not any horse, but the horse. I actually found it hilarious even when this whole situation is messed up. It was really unexpected, and I really think they did it on purpose. There is no way out of all the moments Guts has gone through, they picked this one. I mean, if I were to choose, we don't even need to go to other arcs. In the same chapter where the horse appears, we got this memorable scene. Jokes aside, the actual composition of the panel is amazing, but I really think that not only the horse but the other memories that were chosen were not suited for this specific moment. I know it is a minor detail, but what do you guys think? Moving on, it seems like Shirka takes a look at Guts' inner self and sees all the memories until she sees Griffith. It seems to be during the reunion from chapter 178 when this happened, and as Griffith stares at Guts, Shirka also experiences this. Guts rages when looking back at this last memory, and we can see some subtle details of what seems like the Berserker armor's fangs clenching together more and more until Guts loses it and Shirka is not able to continue in her astral form. Guts is seen in the ground curled up and almost resembling a fetal position that clearly symbolizes someone in a sad state, and as in his childhood, it seems like he's trying to hold something. All his life, he has had his sword next to him. This was also mentioned in my previous video in more detail, where I showed examples of every time Guts is seen in a vulnerable state, be that while losing a battle, recovering from one, or sleeping alone in the dark. The sword has always been by his side. Now it is no longer like that. We see Roderick sadly move away, as there is nothing he or anyone can do. Guts, as cruel as it sounds, has to figure it out by himself. Previously, I thought that Pug was going to help his long-lasting friend get back together, but now, I think that there is a possibility Guts will just stay locked in that room for some chapters. Maybe someone just slides food under the door and Guts simply just doesn't come out until he's ready. I've seen people saying he will use the Behelit or get taken over by the Berserker armor, and although it is possible and an option he could make, reading this chapter, I think it will not be the case anytime soon or as of now. Guts has been depressed ever since the chapter where Casca got taken by Griffith, and as we saw in this chapter, he only raged once. Guts raged, but then he calmed down, as this panel of Guts descending to the bottom of an ocean-like realm shows us. He's not full of rage right now, as many seem to believe. He's not looking for vengeance, he's not looking for anything now. He has lost hope. Guts is in a state where he just gave up, as he slowly lets himself get dragged to the bottom, where no light is visible, no hope is visible. I know there have been several warnings for using the Berserker armor, and we have seen its danger in combat, but if the user is not willing to fight, it does nothing. The theory of using a Behelit makes more sense. We could take Griffith's use of the Behelit as an example. He was at his lowest, as is Guts in his current state, and when all hope was lost, the Behelit presented itself with the question of, do you want to achieve your dream? And Griffith chose the path that would later lead to the eclipse. But there is one thing missing for Guts, and this is the desire or pursuit for something. As stated before, Guts is having a mental breakdown, and I highly doubt he's even thinking of a good future, like being with Casca, saving her, or killing Griffith and the rest of the God Hand and Apostles. He looks so heartbroken, but who knows? Besides the ethical and moral aspects of using the Behelit that go against Berserk's meaning and Guts' philosophy and ideals, even when it is not likely to occur, it is a possibility within the story. The rest of the chapter shows Falconia. We get a look at the wall tree and the sky paths, and if I remember his name correctly, Mule calls out Sonia and she appears to be staring at the sky paths waiting for someone. Sir Locus and General Grumbelt walk towards her and she notifies them that he is back. We get this breathtaking panel of Falconia's port with Zod flying as the others wait for his arrival, and once he lands with Griffith, he is greeted by the guards kneeling down to him and Sonia seems surprised looking at Griffith carrying Casca. From this section there is a lot of things that I am looking forward to. First, Sonia's future role in the story is intriguing. We know her abilities for reading minds, so her interaction with Casca will be interesting as long as Casca's memories are not somehow altered by Griffith and Sonia can see her past. Of course, this is just assuming she does not already know Griffith's past. It is no coincidence that she's appearing now. We were told that Kouji Mori and the team would only adapt exactly what Kentaro Miura envisioned, so seeing Sonia having a relative focus in this chapter is promising. Moreover, ever since she was introduced, there was some kind of focus on her. This could be seen when interacting with Shirka and Griffith. She appears to be an important character in the story that we just have to wait to see her impact in the story. Specifically, I remember the metaphor and story she told Shirka involving other characters, where a lot of symbolism was used. The second thing is the presence of the guards. In this chapter we saw Locus, Grumbelt and Irvine. Till this day I cannot take off my mind the astonishing panel of them in their transformed or true form, so I am highly anticipating new panels with them by the new studio. And who knows, maybe we even get some character development and get to know them more, since the only one whose personality and thoughts are somewhat known are Sir Locus's due to his interaction with Rickert. Which takes me to the third thing. Where is Rickert? In my previous videos I have stated how intriguing his new crew promises to be, and even a possible alliance with Guts' crew might happen, which would be epic. Interestingly, Guts has faced both of them in previous battles, and if they fight together I know the fights will be fascinating. We know that the story is stated to end with Kouji Mori's lead, so I imagine a final battle with all the guards and Guts' and Rickert's crew together fighting. The panels would definitely go down in history. As of now, we just have to wait. This chapter definitely did not feel like a new arc, and since there was no new title for a new arc, I guess this was truly the last chapter of the Fantasia Arc. This chapter really showed that Studio Gaga has heard the community, since the art was the most consistent, as I mentioned in the video. I am looking forward to the next one, which might be released in 2 months because of the New Year's break. Until then, take care.